in, you always in. We share everything and everyone. Your shit is my shit. Recording studio. Yes, my recording studio.
So, we all heard the conversation between Raquel and Lou at the end of episode 10. She told him that he's got no options, he's in the game, his money is her money, his shit is her shit, his studio, people, everything. With Marvin, she's had issues with him from the beginning of the season, which wasn't helped by him pulling Kanan into the game even more. We learned that she took over the business from him, and even though they seem to make up in episode 9, with Marvin proving his worth, no doubt they'll be at odds again at some point in season 2. With Kanan, the narration told us everything we need to know, where even Kanan himself is telling us that he can't even trust his own mama, which is a crucial detail going into season 2. So in this video, we're going to go through Raq's relationship with Marvin, Lou and Kanan, and whether or not we could see the Thomas family turning on Raquel at some point, as well as looking at Detective Howard and Symphony's relationship with Raquel to paint the whole picture. But of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button. You should see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related, especially with Power Book 2 Go Season 2 on its way on November the 21st. But let's talk all things Detective Howard and Raquel first, and then move on to the Thomas family, because no doubt when Howard wakes up, the first name that comes out of his mouth is definitely not going to be Kanan, because he needs him for his bone marrow transplant. But Detective Howard and Raquel go way back, 15-16 years, and they're two characters that take their reputation very seriously. Raquel wants to be the queen, but what about Detective Howard?
Motherfuckers respect me. They fear me. And the motherfucking reckoning. That's who I am.
So he told us that he's the motherfucking reckoning. People fear him, and people respect him. He's someone who's definitely not going to back down from a fight, and after Raquel had Kanan shoot him, he's going to come for Raquel, and he knows that to get through to Raquel, you have to go through the prince, which is Kanan. Now Raquel has proved to us, and to Detective Howard, that he's someone who's willing to do anything to win, but somewhere along the way, she's going to make a mistake that's going to cost her big, and this is where Detective Howard can take advantage of the situation, because Patina Miller, who plays Raquel, has told us that according to Raq, she believes that as far as she knows, Howard is dead. Responding to one of her Q&As on Instagram, she wrote, for all she knows at that final moment in episode 10, Howard is gone, Unique is locked up, and Kanan is out of town, safe. And this is where things could really start to unravel for Raq in season 2, because Detective Howard knows that she set Kanan up to shoot him, and as it starts to dawn on Kanan, after Duke told him that Raq had you just shoot a cop, and with his narration telling us that even he can't trust his own moms, I can really see Detective Howard using this whole situation to surprise and blackmail Raquel into having Kanan give him this transplant, or even go to Kanan directly and have him turn against his own mom, because as he said, he can make sure that Kanan is protected in the streets, and there's no better protection than law enforcement itself, because it's always good to have cops as friends, just like Raquel told Jukebox. But Detective Howard really does move with the aura of him being an unstoppable character.
You motherfuckers must be really confused about who I am and who the fuck you are.
And along with this and how he's still alive, which will surprise Raquel, this will be one aspect which will allow him to get the better of her. But let's talk about the Thomas family next, because going into season 2, there's going to be a few changes in the relationship with Lou, Marvin and Kanan. Now Raquel is someone who kept her hands clean, because that's what powerful people do. They have others do their work for you, just like how she had Lou kill D-Wiz in episode 2. But ever since then, you could just sense that he wanted out of the game and seemed distracted. For example, choosing the wrong gun when he went after Worrell, he used the Tech 9 instead of using a Glock. But we saw Lou focusing more on music and his record label, where he wanted his showcase to be a clean event where no drugs were sold and no guns on site. But it was during this conversation where we were told that anything that Lou has belongs to Raquel, as Raquel told Lou his shit is her shit. And Raquel is someone who's never gonna let Lou leave the game. She wanted him to take over so she could sit back and collect the checks, but her having Kanan shoot a cop was the final nail for him. He wants out and he wants to go legit. But if Lou really wants to break free from Raquel and go legit, he's gonna have to realize that she has to go. Because for as long as she's around, he won't be able to run his record label the way he wants to run it. He won't be able to focus on his music or keep his hands clean, because when Raquel wants shit done, she goes to Lou. So what other consequences does there have to be for Lou to really turn on Raquel? Because we know Lulu is as loyal as they come. Even when he's 6 feet deep, he's going to be flying the same flag as he's always done, because he loves his family. But this is the game. We've seen family turn on each other before, and he's someone who, in his words, doesn't want to end up dead or in jail. So what other consequences does there have to be for Lou to really turn on Raquel? Because for Lou to go legit, Raquel definitely has to go. With Marvin, she's had issues with him from the very first episode. There were early signs with body language and in early conversations that these are two characters that have always been at each other's throats and have differing opinions on how to run shit. We learned that Raquel took over from Marvin because she sees things that he doesn't, and she's better than he is, something which he admitted later on in episode 9. This is where they made up after she told him in episode 8 that she doesn't want nothing to do with him and that he was out of the family business, and Marvin actually does prefer being on his own and going solo, but he never gives up on family and he'll never turn his back on them either. And Raquel did need him, but what happens if and when Marvin fucks up again? Their relationship has always been very delicate, and what could be the real major turning point for them is if Marvin finds out that Raquel was actually behind him going to prison when he did his whole bid in Elmira. We learned that he was arrested when he was using and trying to sell to cops when Duke and Kanan were babies, and Marvin could look at his younger sister in a different way if he were to find out that she sent him to prison, because it will tell Marvin to what extent Raquel is willing to go to claim this power that she desires in the streets. But would Marvin turn on Raquel? He's someone who's told us that you never give up on family, so it's going to take something huge for Marvin to really turn his back on Raq. But one person who I do expect to turn on Raq and on his own mother is Kanan. Raquel has told Kanan lies on top of lies, and if he realizes that Detective Howard is his father, this could be the final nail in the coffin for Raquel and Kanan's relationship and could be the ultimate turning point for them. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, it actually dawned on Kanan what his mom had him do when Duke told him that she had you shoot a cop. This is the moment Kanan really knew when he couldn't trust his mom, because when it all goes wrong, there's nobody looking out for you but you're on your own and you can only trust yourself. Just like Kanan told us in Power Season 2 in his conversation with Ghost, there are no friends in the streets, and it's just going to take Kanan finding out the truth if he does, or Detective Howard offering something that Raquel can't offer him, or Breeze giving him this sense of power and belonging in the streets, which Raquel isn't, because from Power Story we know that Breeze was Kanan's real teacher and mentor, and at the moment he's introduced, where is Raquel going to be, and what is Kanan going to get up to, and who is he going to meet while he's out in Maryland? But let's move on and talk about Symphony, because this is one person who just keeps on coming back time after time. No matter what Raquel throws at him, how much she abuses him, or what button she presses, Symphony is there for both Raquel and Kanan. She was able to call on Symphony when Marvin wasn't responding to her paging him because he was arrested, so she had Symphony take Kanan out of the city to Maryland. Now I don't think Symphony is Breeze, but I do think she'll be dragged into Raquel's drug life a lot more in season 2. Just like Kanan told Raquel, Symphony can be very useful, they can learn a lot from him, so I do think he'll be there for her in more ways than one in season 2. And a few ways Symphony can help Raquel is by keeping tabs on Tony, because he did warn Raquel that Tony can't be trusted, especially after she had Marvin arrested. And he'll probably also help her move weight in Lanes, which will drag him into Raquel's drug life, which reminds me, we're still yet to meet the boss of Lanes, which is Hugo, so I wonder whether we're going to be able to put a face to the name in season 2 and find out who Hugo is. But that's just a rundown of Raquel's relationships, but let me know what you think about Marvin, Lou or Kanan and how they could possibly turn on Raquel in season 2, and if Detective Howard could get the better of Raquel. Drop all your thoughts and comments down below, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time.